Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the Top Performing Vendor Excellence webinar. My name is Reshma, and I'm the Senior Vendor Engagement Manager at Foodpanda. Today, we'll be talking about how you can improve your operations excellence to improve your day-to-day operations at your outlets. So before we begin, I just want to share a few things that we will be sending you a short survey at the end of the session. Do let us know how you enjoyed this webinar and how we can improve in the future. Or maybe if you have any other interesting topics that you would like to hear from us, we would love to make a webinar on it. Secondly, if you enjoyed the presentation and you enjoyed your time with me today, that is also something that you can just write into the feedback form as well. Next, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat system provided on the Zoom call today. And lastly, if you enjoyed the webinar and you want your team members to learn more about it, head on to the university section on Restaurant Portal, and you have so many new videos and guides that can help you and your team. If your team wants to join us on the next webinar, feel free to join us. We'll be having a lot other webinars in the months ahead. So what will we be covering for today's session? Today, we'll be talking about impression. How do you make an impression? What are the causes of your order fails? Next, we'll be talking about CRC, Customer Recovery Charge. I think this is a big topic among vendors. Next, we'll be talking about simple day-to-day checklists that you can do, like I said, to improve your operations, as well as just to have the consistency when delivering a particular order to your customers. So now let's talk about this particular local cuisine, right? It's a small cuisine somewhere in, example, Ang Mo Kio area, right? So he is constantly fixed and caught up in cooking, which means he doesn't have time to ensure that his device is working or his menu is being updated. And obviously, he's not able to respond on time because he's busy cooking. So all this has caused his business to become stagnant and not improve. But now he has approached us and he's keen to learn how he can do better. So now, did you know, a fun fact here, I'm going to throw in a fun fact here. Did you know that 92% of failed orders actually do not reorder from your particular restaurant? So if you want to know how to avoid this and ensure that your customers keep coming back, stay on with us as we bring you through this whole journey of how you can become a top performing vendor, as well as just with simple actions to kind of improve your day-to-day operations. So let's talk about high order fails and what are the importance of avoiding these particular order fails. You may ask, what causes high order fails? Let's talk about this again, a scenario again, right? So this vendor is new to Foodpanda. So obviously you might not be familiar with the tools that we have. You're not familiar with how the GoDrive works, the restaurant portal, and so on and so forth. So this can also be a cause to your downfall. Next, having an outdated menu and unavailable items is something that is a common issue by many vendors across Singapore, right? Like day to day, you're so busy, that is what you're selling for the week, and you would assume that you have enough items to be selling that particular dish or a few dishes for the particular week. So I think keeping that consistency of daily checking is something that we will share with you in a bit. Thirdly, your restaurant is obviously closed for any personal reasons or just the way your schedule is, or your restaurant is busy throughout the day, right? So example, from maybe 10 to 2, you were doing really well and your sales was quite high. And then after that, maybe from like 2 to 5 is a bit of a quiet time and you were not attentive enough. Or from 10 to 2, you're really busy, so you're not looking at your GoDrive device. So that brings me to my last point, which is ignoring your GoDroid device, because at the end of the day, that is where your orders are coming from. And your customers are waiting for a reply, or rather foodpanda is waiting for a reply. So I think it's important to kind of check on it as well, right? So these are the few that we can share. Next, why is it so important to avoid having failed orders? Obviously, avoid incurring additional costs. As you guys know, we have quite a few different costs at foodpanda, and because we have to pay back to the customers, or rather refund back to the customers, so that cost is incurred by you, right, accordingly to what the issue is. So that's first. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, 92% of rejected customers do not reorder. So let's, as a whole, avoid bad customer experience. And thirdly, it's as simple as avoiding to deter customers from returning. We obviously want returning customers, and now customers are really heavily focusing on ordering online because everybody's working from home, or everybody is kind of with the comfort of their family. So we want to encourage returning customers. So these are the top 3 reasons why. Next, let's look at CRC, or customer recovery charge, and how you will be charged accordingly. Again, if you have a high fail order rate, or certain orders that you have rejected for some particular reason, CRC comes into play as well. So now let's move on to customer recovery charge. What is customer recovery charge? Customer recovery charge is basically charges that will be put on to the vendor side if there are failures in the orders. So now let's talk about what are the kinds of failures that can actually incur extra charges for the vendors. Is basically things like whenever your restaurant is closed and customers are ordering, and therefore we will have to reject the order accordingly, and that will be a charge on your side. Next, things like if you have neglected your GoDroid for a moment and did not accept the order in the time frame that was given, therefore a charge will be kind of incurred on your end as well. Thirdly, if a dish is out of stock, which is why I always suggest vendors to please check in terms of your stock availability from time to time. So this is also another charge on your end. And lastly, simple as did not respond in time to the order as well. This is something where you will be charged. So for Singapore, the charge will be $5 per order. Yes, this is a big sum, but it is something that you can definitely avoid with just some simple steps to remove the failed orders. Yeah, right. So the penalties as follows, right? As I mentioned, you're missing, earlier where, dish out of stock and stuff like that, that will be charged. Now let's talk about when you will not be charged. Is missing items by riders, right? So example, if your rider was meant to pick up a Coke, a fries, and maybe a burger, and they missed out on the Coke, so that will not be charged on your side, that will be charged on our side. So I just want to make sure that CRC is clear, right? It's only what is within your restaurant's control, right? So missing items by rider, nope, you will not be charged. Next, riders tapping as delivered before the customer has already received the order. So this is also something that we're definitely looking into and very, scrutinizing on it a lot. So don't worry, because we also don't want to give that bad experience on our side, right? Because we are doing the delivery portion. So this is something that we're definitely looking into as well. And lastly, obviously, unsuccessful or failed orders for many reasons where, it didn't meet the customer's requirement, the customer did not even receive the particular order, and so on and so forth, right? I'm not going to go into details of it, but do know that these are penalties that will not be on your end. Now, let's look at how we can become a top performing vendor so that you guys do not get charged. Again, I didn't want to go too much into the charges. I want more to focus on how you can avoid getting charged. I think let's focus on that more. Okay. So what are the best practices and tips and tricks that you can do? Just wanted to kind of take a pause a little bit, right, before we go into the fun, positive side. If any of you have any questions, please, if you have a question, use the chat system. and ask us accordingly. I will try my best to answer your questions at the end of the session. Let's go with that. Yeah, if you have any questions, I hope everybody's still engaged, everybody's still excited. We have just a little bit more. I have about, I would like to say about 15, 20 more minutes. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question from the floor, and the question is, how do I change my restaurant operating hours just for the particular day? So I think for each day, you will get a reminder on your GoDroid 30 minutes before your opening time. So what you can do is you can, change your opening times accordingly, obviously using the restaurant portal, or you can tap open when your restaurant is ready to accept orders. So I think I need to remind you, example, if your restaurant is opening at 7:30, but does not mean that you're receiving orders at 7:30 a.m., right? You might be only receiving orders at 9 a.m. due to, again, you need to do a lot of prep work, cleanliness, and so on and so forth. So make sure that your opening hours is only when you're ready to accept orders, because trust me, once the customers come, they come flooding, right? So let's just ensure in it, right? Next, I want to be very clear with this check-in button that we give you every 30 minutes before your opening hours. If you do not check in, your restaurant will remain closed. So I think I've received quite a few phone calls from vendors saying that, hey, Reshma, why is my restaurant closed for the day? What happened? I'm open, I'm selling, why is it not open? So because the vendor forgot to check in. So checking in is very, very important. We had to add in this extra step in your GoDroid device because, again, too many failed orders. So this was something that the product side had to come up with, and I think it was a unanimous decision on Foodpanda side to implement this particular thing. Right. Next, I just want to also add another point in case if, through the day, as I mentioned earlier, maybe, between 10 to 2, you become busy, or 2 to 5, you become busy, again, every restaurant is different. If you get busy with your restaurant, you can always switch your device to busy. So these are things that you can switch around. So start, toggling with your device a little bit more and playing around with your device to kind of understand how you can make it open, busy, or close accordingly. So I always like to use this sentence: take charge of your business, right? You tell us what you want to do with your business, and we will guide you accordingly. Okay, let's forget that for a moment, how we can open and close our restaurant. Now, how we're going to become our top performing vendors, right? Let's look at a daily checklist that we have created for you, the team has created for you. So let's just go through the daily checklist. Firstly, very simple, make sure your GoDroid device is plugged in. Trust me, a lot of vendors kind of forget on this, and it's quite funny sometimes because they will call me and say, "Hey, Reshma, why my device today like blur, like blank, nothing's going on?" I'm like, "Uncle, have you checked or not? Your device is plugged in." And it's like, yeah, correct, my device is plugged in. So sometimes battery can get over. So make sure your device is plugged in, yeah? Next, make sure you have a strong Wi-Fi connection. Some of you did not opt in for the SIM card data charge, due for personal reasons. So please make sure that you have a strong Wi-Fi connection. But on the other hand, we always encourage our vendors to take the SIM card data charge because we want you guys to have a strong data connection when receiving all of these orders. Lastly, always switch on your ringer to the loudest and the clearest. Put it in a place where you are comfortable and you see it on a day-to-day basis, and make sure that somebody is checking on the device from time to time for sure. We always encourage to put the device near the cashier because he or she will be able to kind of just accept the order and pass the order to the kitchen side. Yeah, so that is something. Next will be your printer. Make sure there's sufficient paper roll, right? If you do not have sufficient paper roll, work with us, we will get it to you, or it's something that you can just kind of get it on your own as well. And lastly, make sure the printer is connected to the device. So these are things that you can just check on as well, right? If you need to troubleshoot this information, you need some help with it, please raise a ticket on the restaurant portal and my team will get back to you accordingly. And lastly, a menu, I think is very, very important. A lot of times, your items are unavailable. Maybe today you couldn't get a certain vegetable in the market. Maybe now chicken, the prices are increasing. You're not selling chicken anymore. You're selling different kind of meat. So all these things, I think it's just important to keep the customers abreast, right? To understand what is being sold in your restaurant and so on on and so forth. So I think it's very important sometimes also for vendors to just, be in the shoes of a customer. Imagine if you are ordering from a particular restaurant and, so many items says available, but actually not available and so on and so forth. How would you feel, right? So I think let's just sometimes think in the customer's perspective, right? Next, I like this slide a lot. Firstly, because it's colorful, and I think secondly, it really just kind of summarizes I think what are the few simple tips and tricks that I've been sharing in the past few minutes. Now, just to kind of reiterate, right? Make sure your make sure your menus are updated. Make sure your opening hours are regularly changed. This is something that you can specifically put on a day-to-day basis on the restaurant portal. So please accordingly check on it, right? Sometimes Sunday is your day for closure. Some, I know restaurants will close on a random Wednesday, on a random Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So accordingly, take charge and change your opening hours to to how your restaurant is like. Again, every restaurant is different. If you have multiple outlets, please replicate that same action for your other outlets as well. Next, we obviously want to talk about your status. As I mentioned, you can talk about open, busy, and close. So for busy, we will slow down on your orders, obviously, and close, we wouldn't give you orders accordingly. This is just to help your customers to understand your restaurant better. Thirdly, strong connection. As I mentioned earlier, make sure your connection, your Wi-Fi, your 4G, everything is strong. And lastly, ensure that your device sound is loud and clear so that you can hear it accordingly. Because I know a lot of times, sometimes, hawkers complain, they say, yeah, I cannot hear, very noisy in the hawker, then I didn't hear, my device also under a whole stack of book, then, I didn't see, sorry. Then obviously CRC is already being charged to them, and then that's where the dispute comes. So we want to avoid all of these kind of things. Okay, now I think this is a very, 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 very common question, right? Very common question. Hence, we added into the particular slide is how do you make a particular item unavailable, right? Because example, morning you sell, then finish already. Rojak, mee goreng, or you sell, finish already. Or the burger you sold off. How do you make it unavailable? Simple. Go to your GoDroid, click for menu availability and then toggle on each particular item. Again, it is by item. So your beverage, your snacks, your appetizer, your main, everything is separate. So by each item, please toggle on it accordingly and make sure that it's either unavailable or maybe just unavailable today or unavailable indefinitely. Just accordingly take charge of your menu. Maybe if you have a team, please tell your team to change the information accordingly as well. Okay, now very quickly we just run through what you can do on your menu management, right? So menu management, these are the few things. Don't want to go too much into detail because we have another webinar just for menu management. So this one, what you can do with your menu management is basically you can create combos. You can add and edit variations. Obviously, you can add new items, edit the pricing and stuff like that. And I think something that we're focusing very heavy on this year for 2022 is obviously description. So adding description and dish level photos, right? Make sure you have photos, I think, to entice the customers. Again, not too much detail because I got another webinar session where you will learn about it. So I think this is something. And lastly, the banner photo. Always you must have banner photo, right? So when customers are scrolling on the application, at least the banner will show, what you are selling, right? What you are selling. So if you can have in the banner photo a few of the items in your restaurant, that will be great. You will entice your customers accordingly, right? If you want more information for menu management, as I mentioned, please go to the restaurant portal. There's a whole section on it, or join us on the menu management webinar. Right. Next, we want to kind of throw in this. So this was something that I would like to see a launch maybe late last year, early this year. Is talking about the performance dashboard, right? Where we talk about your restaurant's operations health. So on a day-to-day basis, you can see the number of sales, you can see your orders, you can see your failed orders. You can look into the different reporting, your sales for the day, revenue for the day, your health, overall health, how many failed orders and so on and so forth. There's quite a extensive amount of things. Obviously, we will be rewarding you for your good performance as well. Things like improving your visibility within the Foodpanda application. All of these are automated on our system and being done by the product team. So do trust us on that, on us. And lastly, I think it's simple as if you improve your operations health, you definitely can maximize in terms of your earnings. I think customers will definitely be coming back. Customers will keep looking for your restaurant. And obviously, if the quality of the food and the taste is great, customers will come back for sure. Right, so this is the performance dashboard that I was talking about. So please, take some time, maybe today, sometime maybe this week with your team. Again, if you have a team, please go and click into the different sections, right? So we have about your operations, we have your content metrics, we have just your orders. So every section is in detail explained to you, right? So example, for the content section, we will tell you all your items have photos, example, all your items have proper description. So example, if it says you only have like 35%, then maybe for the balance 65%, you need to add more photos, add description, and so on and so forth. So please go and dissect this particular dashboard and learn accordingly from it. Okay, how you can understand your overall health is basically going to the restaurant portal, looking at the vendor performance button, click on it. And then obviously you can click on the outlet health. So this gives you an overall view of your restaurant health for that particular outlet. Then you can just change outlets and look at accordingly kind of thing, right? As I mentioned, you will be rewarded for top performing outlets. We usually put you increase your visibility. Let's use the word increase your visibility for the popular near you carousel section that we have on the Foodpanda application. Okay, this is operational metrics. So you can look into your average fruit preparation time. You can look into your delay rate. So I think sometimes owners and stuff are not physically at the restaurant, so you might not know your day-to-day operation. So this is a good benchmark for you to kind of track what's going on ground and stuff like that. So you can check here your delay rate, restaurant delay rate. And lastly is your average restaurant acceptance time. So this is how fast you accept the particular order when an order comes into your GoDroid device. So these are things that you should be tracking. Right, so I think I want to close off my session by just saying that are you ready to be an all-star? We want to share with you one last thing, which is the importance of actually having good reviews and ratings, right? Good reviews and ratings, because I think after this session now you're ready to be an all-star already, right? Okay, so what is about the good reviews and ratings that we were talking about is why is it very, very important? Is basically you will be able to attract new fan base, and basically this is again based on data and research, get about 2.4x of your normal orders month on month, right? Compared to a lower rating restaurant. So I think attracting a fan base is very, very important, and good reviews and ratings can do that for you, right? Next will be obviously increasing your order value. So a restaurant which is 4 to 5 stars actually receive 3.8x order value in terms of from their customers on a month-to-month basis. So this is something that you can do. And lastly, only with a good rating, you can unlock some of the growth center features, right? So if you, as you know, growth center has Panda Clicks, Panda Pro, Panda Promo, Panda Box. So only with good ratings, you can unlock some of the sections on the growth center. So this is also something which is interesting, because I've got vendors calling me and saying, hey, Reshma, why I cannot use this particular promotion? Why I cannot do this particular deal? It's because you might not have unlocked the good rating section. Yeah, so these are things that you should just check on, right? I think lastly, I just want to close off by saying that, make sure, meet your customers' expectations. If you have said that you're going to give a particular item with the dish, please make sure it's given to the customers. So which is why this is where the description comes into play, very, very important, right? Sometimes you will say like, oh, a salad with a side, but then the side doesn't come on in the order, so customers kind of get disappointed. So this is where your item description is important, as well as your dish level photo, because sometimes your photo might show a burger and a drink and a fries, but the drink and the fries is not given included. Again, it's not your fault, but the photo was just like that. So sometimes customers get a bit deceived and they don't like it accordingly. Next, this one I think is very, very important, or something that you can give edge to your restaurant. Me as a vegetarian, I usually like a lot of description description in the instruction section. So this is something that you can also definitely look on. Sometimes people are vegan, gluten-free, nut allergy, and so on and so forth. So if you can try to attend to their instructions, please do that accordingly. If you cannot, please maybe just write in, your description as well. No modifications apply, or so on and so forth. This is something that you can definitely inform your customers. Like it's not like a do or die situation kind of thing, right? And lastly, enhance your customer experience. This is something that you can do on your own. If you want to leave a note, you want to drop a name card, you want to add an additional flyer to your order, feel free, customize your paper bags. This is something that some restaurants do, some restaurants don't, but I think it just gives an additional edge to your particular restaurant. So, are you ready to be, a top performing vendor? I hope everybody's saying yes. Wherever you are, at home or at your restaurants, I'm excited for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. Obviously, as always, if you have any doubts or you want to learn more, these are the few places that you can find us. So we're on Restaurant Portal. Obviously, the university section gives you a lot more guides and videos. We have a YouTube channel with all of the videos. And lastly, we just created a Facebook page for vendors. So please join us there. Yeah, please join us, the Facebook group. This Facebook link is in all of your communications that you receive on a day-to-day basis. So just click on it and join us there. Yeah? Join us there. It's a good community. We're kind of gathering all the vendors together. We play some games on the platform, and we have some chit-chat sessions planned for the year ahead as well. Okay, so thank you, everybody. My name is Reshma once again, and I hope you enjoyed the session. Have a good day, and good luck with your operational, operational excellence. And we hope that the little that we shared today can improve, or just kind of give you, some new ideas of how you can improve your day-to-day operations, and just get your staff excited. Okay, everybody, have a good day then. Take care. Bye-bye. See you soon.